I know that so far we talked a lot about, your years of service from youth, from you being a deacon to being a dedicated servant, and also continuing your mission on to New York and then coming to Cleveland and establish all these church. And before I get to the time of where you started also establishing churches, and I know you were sent, and we will talk about that very shortly, to other international countries. Um, Tell me a little bit, Abuna, about your close relationship with Pope Shenouda, and how was it strengthened by the time also? Because you were very close to him when you were young, but also as you continue to grow and serve, it got closer and closer. And especially when we're very special here in Cleveland, Ohio. The fact that he was here a lot to get treated at the Cleveland Clinic. So tell us a lot about this relationship.
My relationship with His Holiness started go back, I will say, to 1964, when I used to attend his Friday meeting lectures in every Friday at the cathedral, just as to attend the lectures. And the lectures about 1 hour and a half or 2 hours, it affect our life so much. Then I used to see the seminarians sit above, um, beside the bishops and the deacons, and it come across my mind that these seminarians, because at that time Pope Shenouda was the dean of the seminary, these seminarians live with His Holiness the whole week, the whole year, the 4 years as a seminarians. So if 1.5 hour or 2 hours affected my life to support me the entire week until I go back to Friday,
Yeah.
I said that maybe one day I will be a seminarian to be close to His Holiness and to be one of his students. It was one of the major reasons that I decided to devote my life to serve the Lord. Not only because in my mind I love to serve the Lord, but this is, I will say, the first motive to help me to make the decision. So this is go back to 1964. In 1968, I joined the seminary, and His Holiness is the one who make the oral examination for me, and he accepted me to be a student. I spent as a student full time. We live in the dorm, like here, some of you know. Uh, so 1968 to 1972, I was graduated from the seminary, and this is when Pope Shenouda sent me as a full-time deacon in Masarra and then in uh, Queens, New York.
Mhm. And then from there, it just kept growing. The
Yeah.
relationships just kept growing.
So continue. His Holiness visited us in Cleveland 32 times.
Wow.
The first one was 1977. Then the second was 1989. Then after that, one after one. Yes, one of the main reasons because of the medical needs of His Holiness,
Mhm.
but also he came a lot for pastoral ministry and pastoral care. The reason we decided, or he agreed, I remember in 1989, the second historical visit of His Holiness, we told him, how about Your Holiness if we can have you executive check up in the Cleveland Clinic to have a file with your name, so any time you come back, you have the file here.
Mhm.
And His Holiness said, I'm okay. I don't need to have any examination. Only my back is hurting me, and this is, I live with it for over 30, 40 years. So I don't care. His Holiness, this is very important just in case. And finally, he agreed. So we have executive checkup. In Cleveland Clinic, they have something called executive checkup, that the head of the department or the highest level make examination in all the departments, hard medicine, eyes, whatever, and then they have a file. And when later on, when he starts to come, um, we have general checkup, and then if he complain about something, we have some examination. he enjoyed it to stay in Cleveland, enjoyed it, the Cleveland Clinic. I remember a lot of people in New York area and in London even said, Sayedna, it's not يعني Cleveland Clinic at the time best in the heart. وhis Holiness never complained about the heart.
Yeah.
So some people, some priests and كده told him in New York, New Jersey, we have more higher hospital. Said, no, my file in Cleveland, I feel comfortable in Cleveland. So he continued, and we were blessed. 32 visits, for many years, he used to stay in my house. Because I said, he raised me. He know me. And even when I was attended the lecture 764, he knows that we are the group of El Fagala Church. And after that, to be his student, he used to teach us 2, 3, 4 subjects in every year.
Wow.
And I was very close to him. So thank God he came to my house in the silver jubilee. He came especially to lead us in the celebration, and he stayed in my house for many, many times. And I remember when in the silver jubilee said, the family of Father Mikhail is my family. His house is my house. I consider Father Mikhail as my friend, and I cry at the celebration. Friend, who's talking? Not any pope. Pope, you know that, you know. But he was very humble. Come to more, and I think he trusted me, although I am not worthy to his trust, to choose me as his representative to establish some other churches or to serve in his behalf in some other churches.
Yes.
As we may say later on.
Yes, yes. And wow, this is powerful because what a special relationship with the Pope. You've even met him clearly and you got to know him even before your current family. So this is a very long time, well over 50 years.
Yes, absolutely.
And what a milestone. I do want to even take here a quick minute to, let everyone know that I don't think it's noted or well known that in the very church here of St. Mark, Cleveland, Ohio, we also have the St. Mary icon that poured oil. Can you tell us when did that happen and how was it verified later, and what did Utsa Kibuna and Pope Shenouda, how did you guys come together and really verify this?
This happened in May 15, 1990. It was the feast day of Saint Athanasius the Apostolic, and Metropolitan Tedros of Bursaid visited us, and he shared with us the miracle of the oil in Bursaid.
Yeah.
And after that, we stand up, make glorification for Saint Mary. And while we had the glorification, someone, in fact, his name is Ibrahim, he's from Florida, not from Cleveland. Say, Abuna, I saw some oil seep from the icon of Virgin Mary.
Wow.
I look at it, I saw really 4 lines of oil come from her neck.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that to Amba Tedros, and he said, wait until we finish. We finished the doxology, and then his Eminence Amba Tedros approached the icon and just put his hand like the lion comes this way. When he put his hand this way, cut the lion, and there is some oil in his hand. Wow. And then later on, you can see the oil run to fill the gap that happened.
Yeah. So it's very fresh oil. Like, I mean, it was.
It is. Looks like graceland.
Yeah.
Very clear. It's not yellow. Very clear, and it's not very greasy like the oil.
Yeah.
And this, as I said, May 1990, it's continued for about 15 months until March, April of 1991. It happened about 30 times. The next Sunday, it happened from the icon of our Lord Jesus Christ. And then it happened on and off for 30 times during these 15 months. We had about 60,000 people came from Ohio, from America, even from Europe and some other countries to witness the miracles. I reported to His Holiness, and His Holiness took the testimony of Ambassadors, and he sent another 4 bishops to examine the phenomena, and then later on he make a decision. This phenomena, it happened in the San Marco Church in Cleveland. We consider it as a miracle, official miracle in the church.
Wow.
And it was in the El Karaza magazine, the official magazine of our Coptic Orthodox Church.
And it was also, I believe, published here in the local Cleveland magazines and newspapers.
A lot of miracles happen, and most of them for the American people.
Wow. Wow.
But yes, it was a wonderful.
Yeah, and actually, it was such a coincidence because I ran into a few local people, and just even people that are non-Coptic, and they even told me, we remember. And then when I tell them I'm Coptic Orthodox, and then I tell them where I'm from, they say, "Oh yeah, you guys have that church with the seeping oil from St. Mary." And again, they're not from the church, so it's very good to know that how much it impacted even locals here in town. And what a powerful story, really, for St. Mary and how she impacted us in Cleveland, Ohio.
And these 15 months we need to have a lot of meeting, a lot of Bible study, a lot of early liturgy from 5 to 7 o'clock in the morning. It was a revival.
Wow.
In our church.
That's amazing. That's amazing. We always stay positive with Pope Shenouda, and every time I even personally look at him, he's always smiling, no matter what he's going through. But we know deep down he was in a lot of pain, and especially closer to the last few years of his life. Tell us a little bit about how much true pain he was in and how you dealt with it, and what kind of impact did it have on you?
I was very, very close. As I said, when he, for many years, used to stay in my house and then we go to the hospital. One of the disease that he had a kidney problems for about a whole year, and then finally he agreed to make dialysis. And this is when you start to move to stay in the Cleveland clinic hotels, because dialysis, at least he have to do it 3 or sometimes 4 times. So this is the well-known and the public information that you do dialysis, and otherwise I don't want to go in more details about any of his other sicknesses, but this is the major. And of course his back problem. One time he did a surgery, have an injury in his foot. This is go back to 2008. Wow. When he stayed 4 months and 13 days. This is the largest, and one of our member in our church here, Dr. Wael Barsoum, did the surgery for him, and it was great, unique. Talking about the newspapers and the media, over 200 newspapers in America, in Middle East, in Egypt, talk about His Holiness operation. So I was very, very close. Either we have dialysis, we have any examination, we have the surgery. I never, even when we used to stay in the hotel, my room is next to his room, and Bishop Ioannis and Bishop Armea always with us. We have in the suite 4 rooms. Of course, one for His Holiness, and then the 2 bishops and myself. And sometimes we take extension rooms if we have more other people join His Holiness.
Wow.
As a patient, he was unique. He never complained. He respected the doctors, the nurses. He do exactly as they ask him to do. very obedient to the doctors, established a wonderful relationship with the CEO of the Cleveland Clinic, with all the other doctors, nurses. Everyone communicate with him, love him so much. When he was in the hospital as a patient, when he heard that some people, patients in the Cleveland Clinic from Egypt, from Cleveland, from all over America, even some Muslims from Arab countries, he visited them and prayed for them. It was unique.
Yeah. And also, we're going to show here very shortly, even you were with him along the side for, a lot of time, especially again when he was very sick. And then you were with him like day and night to the point that, Abuna, your health started to get affected. So as everyone can see here on the screen, um, a very, very, it makes me tear when I see this photo, how he, even in in the midst of his sickness, he visited you when you were sickness. And with your blessing, of course, we can share this photo, which was published and also in the Golden Jubilee. So that's why I want to kind of release that also, if you allow us. Just a true prime example, and that even when he could not barely even move and he was going through treatment, he visited you in your room.
I don't care about my own health, so I give all the times I left my house when we were in the hotel, week two until, as I said, four. And this happened when he had the operation in his leg for four, as I say, still 4 months and 13 days. So few days before I admit in the hospital, I have gallbladder, painful, and the bishop noticed that. Said, Abuna, you have to. We are in the hospital. Go and make examination. I said, I cannot leave his house. Then they told him, say, Father Michael, you have to go now and let them examine you. I cannot say no. So I went and examined. I said, we have a problem in the gallbladder. They do something. It's not that severe at that time. And for I was in the ICU, an emergency room, I think. And later on the day, he came down from the hotel with the two bishops. I think my son Bishoy was with him, and he visited me uh, when I was in the emergency room and prayed for me. I was very touched, amazing. As I said, he's amazing. And then, thank God, um, they didn't discover the details, or I don't know, maybe something happened. Next day, I was very good, and I went back to the hotel and started to continue in my ministry to him. You'll be surprised, after he left this year, my gallbladder hurt me much. I went to the hospital and have operation.
Wow.
And as God wanted me to go through until His Holiness leave the country, and then I did, and the doctor said, how come? How come with this situation? Why you didn't come before? It was not in the Cleveland Clinic.
Mm.
And also, to my surprise, some people told him, and he called me while I was in the hospital. Oh, Father Mikhail, how you doing? Are you good? And he prayed for me.
Yeah.
This is the fatherhood of Pope Shenouda. Pope Shenouda have everything. All the virtues are in him, but the most important is fatherhood, humbleness. And he make me close to him, not because, as I said, I'm worthy to, but because his father.
Yes, he
He's
was a
amazing.
true father. He really is. And I even remember, and again, we were so blessed to be able to visit him here. And I remember even sometimes he would do a little lecture,
Oh yeah.
for us. And what a blessing. It felt like we were back in the cathedral, just on a shorter, smaller scale. We would sit in the hall of the Intercontinental Hotel,
Mhm.
and then he would, give us a nice little Q&A, and we
Yes.
would.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember when other times we visited him, and again, we knew that he's there for medical treatment, and he's in a lot of pain. And I was always impressed, and I think the whole world knows this, that Pope Shenouda always has a pure smile, but also tells us a lot of jokes. So again, with your blessing, Abuna, at the very end, I may ask you to tell us, and we will conclude maybe for all everyone who's watching with maybe one or two of his jokes.